Well, that was quite a dramatic introduction. You like that?
I like that one.
I was like, I'm not gonna do one. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get everybody to vote on all of the different countdowns that we've used. If you like this one, give us a thumbs up. But that's a great way to start a Monday, right? A nice little countdown to be able to talk about a hot topic right now. We have a new series that started up this week where we're going to be talking about what can your business do right now to stay ahead of the second COVID curve that started. So today we're actually going to be focusing on a live answer. So if you have questions, we're here to be able to provide you that support. So comment below, let us know what are those burning questions right now. But we have had quite a few emails and messages on our social media channels with some practices that do have some questions. So they're going to type in and we're going to focus on, because many dental practices aren't really having the typical December, that typical December where their schedules are so jam-packed, they have no room for breath, no room for lunch, no room for anything to be able to accommodate as many patients as possible who want to maximize their insurance coverage before the year runs out. But many patients are starting to reschedule right now because of the lockdown. They're rescheduling their appointments for after the lockdown is finished to be able to go ahead with their treatment. So that means that we're not as busy. We're not getting all of the revenue that we were anticipating and hoping for. So how can we manage our business right now? And how can we find a sustainable solution, mitigate our risk, and keep our business, our team, and our patients safe? So today's episode, we're going to be answering those questions about how to navigate the several challenges caused by COVID-19 right now. And we have Olivia with us, joining us today, Stream HR's guru. She's our chartered HR, senior SHRM HR professional, and global HR professional. And so we are going to just dive into some of the hot topics right now and be able to support you when it comes to any of those questions that you have. So thanks so much for joining. Again, if you have any questions, please comment down below. I'm going to be monitoring that, and then we'll answer all of those pieces. So let's dive in. One of the first questions that we had come in was, I don't have enough work to keep my team busy. What can I do?
Right. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite questions because there are so many different avenues that you can explore. So the number one thing that I would suggest here is to get creative. So this is the chance where if you've got some projects on the go, or maybe in the background that you could be getting caught up on that you've been, putting off for a period of time, this is the time to get caught up on those things. What things have you been meaning to do that you haven't had the time to do, or the staff to be able to support those new projects on the go? As much as you don't want to have to pay your team for time that they're not working with patients and not generating their production revenues, this is still a good time that you can get caught up on your back end. So it's a little bit of that short-term pain, long-term gain sort of situation. So other examples, have you digitized all of your old patient files? Have you audited your MSDS binders? Have you gone through your employee files and make sure that everything is up to date and, items that have expired should be removed from there? What about your training documents and your manuals? When was the last time those were updated? So that's a great sort of project for your team leads in those different avenues that they could be working on in kind of their downtime. And what about marketing and advertising? Do you have your schedule mapped out and pre-scheduled for at least the next 3 months? The list truly is endless of things that you could be catching up on at this point in time. So that's the first step there, is to just get creative and ask your team, what are some things that we have on the back burner that we haven't been able to catch up on? Because now is the time to do so. Going down a different sort of path, we do have the role reassignment. So you can do a temporary role reassignment for a stipulated period of time. So if necessary, you might need to, if your hygiene team isn't busy, maybe they could be supporting the administrative team in some of their tasks or what have you. But if you do go down this route, it is important to get an agreement in writing about the role reassignment and the new job description or job expectations and how long the reassignment will last for. Another option is a reduction of hours. So you might look at reducing the number of hours that the practice is open for. Thus, that's going to reduce the hours of your team members when they're actually at work. So again, if you do need to do this, you need to get it in writing. You need to get that agreement prior to reducing the hours of your team. Don't try to do it retroactively because that's not going to work in your favor. So, I guess the last sort of option is the reduction in workforce. So that is the temporary layoff. So that's definitely the last option that I would ever offer, especially if you don't have any temporary layoff clauses in your employment agreement, as it is quite a risky option. Again, in Canada, you don't have the right to temporarily lay off an employee unless you have that information to do so in the employee's employment agreement. If you don't have that, then you're risking claims of constructive dismissal or wrongful discharge in the future. And that's simply an issue that you don't want to have to risk that if you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are all great points. And I think it's a great idea for everybody just to be proactive scenario, right? So we've got the gift of time, if we can think about it that way, to be able to utilize this to see how can we catch up on that honeydew list I know, for example, I've got a huge honeydew list always on that's burning a hole in the back of my head that I need to jump into and do. So I'm sure there's a lot of projects that utilizing your workforce to be able to just catch up on all of those pieces and all of those other recommendations that Olivia had brought out in terms of, possibly a role reassignment. So if a hygienist isn't busy, seeing patients, maybe that's that opportunity for that individual to jump up and work with you to be able to catch up on recall, on pendings, on seeing what can we do to maximize our marketing right now to be able to educate our patients that it's safe to come to the dentist. We're not closed. We're here to be able to take care of you. Maybe creating some educational videos on, being proactive with their oral health and not to wait until there's pain, because when there's pain, that means that there's an issue, right? We want to do the same thing. And I see a comment on here from Ken. Some great suggestions here on being proactive. So we want to do the same thing in our business. How can we be proactive? So great recommendations. Thanks, Olivia, for walking us through those pieces. Now on to the next question is, what government assistance can help my dental practice right now?
Oh, that's a good question because it is consistently changing. So I'll talk about Canada because that's where I'm located and that's what I'm most versed in at this point in time. So they did just announce within the last couple of weeks an increase to the Canada Emergency Business Account. So if you haven't already gotten your CEBA, they've extended it an extra $20,000, so up to a maximum of $60,000 to the loan. And there is a percentage of that is supposed to not be that should be forgiven at the end of the loan term. So that's good to get some immediate cash flow. There are, of course, the individual benefits for employees if they have a COVID exposure, or if the schools shut down again. So definitely important to check out those recovery benefits, see how they get activated. And you need to know and understand what sort of ROE information is required for an employee to actually activate those benefits. So that's something that I definitely recommend reading up on. And there's also the CEWS still. The rent subsidy program has changed a little bit, but they're still up and running for those that are still down in revenues. And then, of course, we can look at grants. So there's the Canada Job Grant. There's other provincial and municipal subsidy programs available. So it all just comes down to doing a little bit of research into your specific region and just seeing what's locally available to you.
Oh, some great suggestions there. And there's definitely a lot of resources available for businesses. So really using that, maximizing that to be able to see how can we, continue to have some, generate some cash flow coming in, building that capital reserve. So in that way, we've got that rainy day float, because as we've been able to see time and time over the last 9 months, things continue to change. Things can change within a matter of a few days. So just making sure you have that contingency plan. And man, you guys have heard us say that over and over and over again in so many different areas of your business. But this is what's really important to create that sustainability for your organization to continue to grow after all of this has bypassed. And we know that this is going to end very shortly, hopefully. And we'll see where, the next year looks like for us. Now's the time to start putting that foundation. So thanks for putting us in that direction there, Olivia. So the next question, which is kind of on that time of year right now, where a lot of practices are normally doing their Christmas parties or their year-end celebrations, or maybe this is a time where they take their team out for, a hurrah to celebrate all the things that we accomplished over the year, or maybe even doing a bonus. So obviously, times are a little bit different right now. So one of this practice asked, I don't think I can afford to give anyone a bonus this year for Christmas. What else can I do?
Yeah, so that's definitely it can be a tricky situation based on the sort of history that you have. So if you're always doing bonuses for and you've got employees that have received a bonus for the last 20 years, this might be a harder situation for them because they might be expecting that bonus. So we definitely want to focus on communication right now. Employees are generally understanding people. So we want to be open and honest with them about the situation this year. Because I know when we came back from those COVID closures, we were super busy for a period of time. But so the employees are going to see that coming in and they're going to equate that to cash flow. But they're not thinking about how expensive PPE is or how many extra hours people are working to keep up with the cleaning and disinfection and sanitation protocols. So you need to have these open conversations with them as much as we might not want to as an employer, because it shouldn't be a surprise to them that the practice has suffered this year, but they might not be seeing it in the same way that you are because you have access to the actual dollars and cents. So we don't want to just ignore this and pretend like bonuses never happened, because they did. So if you are able to do a smaller bonus, do them. Or this is a perfect time to change it up, give your team something small and thoughtful. You can also use this time to chat and talk about your 2021 goals and let them know what bonuses could look like in 2021 if they meet those goals. So at this point in time, we can use it as a bit of motivation. As for other items, you can definitely get creative. So if you can't do a team dinner, maybe a bunch of gift cards and they can get takeout and you could do a Zoom, takeout dinner all together or something like that. So it all comes down to how creatively you can think about the situation and just make the most of it. Everyone knows that, I don't want to say this is an unprecedented year because I've heard that 10,000 times, but it truly is. So this is the time to change it up if you're going to change it up.
Yeah, definitely. And I love all of those points. And I think it really doesn't really bypass, hey, we're just because we're in a pandemic, we're not doing bonuses and it should just be a given, or we're not doing Christmas parties this year or anything like that. But the point is we really want to provide that support. And as the leader, this is a time where your team also need your support. So even if, having that hard conversation of saying that we're unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we're not able to do bonuses this year, but this is what we're going to do instead, because I really appreciate everything that you've done to really help us during some of the toughest times that our business has ever gone through. But, just honoring and celebrating that and how you guys grew together as a team and supported the community, and celebrating that in a different way, because, we've all talked about this. We all need that support and that encouragement now more than ever. We don't know what our employees are going through at home. They may have had a spouse or a family member who has gotten sick, or who've lost somebody, or who've lost their jobs. Like, we need to still be there to be able to virtually, give them that support that we need if we're not doing something in person. So that's definitely some great recommendations, Olivia. Thanks for walking us through that. And then again, use time to really plan for the new year and, be able to get back stronger than ever. So I don't see any other questions, but we've definitely hit a lot of points here, and I'm really excited for the next few days and the series that we're going to be hitting you guys with every single day on how we can support you during this second lockdown. And we really want to emphasize that we're here to help our community. We know that dental business owners are going through a really tough situation right now. They're dealing with HR scenarios without the proper HR training or know-how, which may be leaving you feeling overwhelmed or stressed. So we want to help you when it comes to these situations. So we've created a COVID helpline for dentists. We've created a resource, a portal page, so that you guys can go on to be able to access several articles, FAQs, webinars that we've done to be able to help you throughout this crisis and this stressful time. So some of the resources that you can look out for and read are how to handle a COVID exposure in the workplace, preparing your practice for the possibility of another lockdown, and getting your practice ready for any OHS inspections, and mitigating your risk if you have to reduce hours or your workforce. So in addition to this, we're offering a free, no obligation COVID HR helpline. So in that way, you can set up a time to speak with our HR and health and safety experts to answer those questions. So we hope this video and we hope those resources that we created for you are helpful for your business right now. But for more information, please visit our website, streamdentalhr.com. And then on the corner, you're going to see a COVID HR helpline. And then you can just click on that, and that'll get you right to us to be able to connect with us and answer those questions. So thanks, Olivia, again, for jumping on here and letting us put you in the hot spot and answering those questions for us. And everybody who's watching right now, thanks so much. If there's any questions that we didn't answer, please message us and we'll be happy to respond to that and support you. So everyone stay safe. Remember to stay positive and support one another. Thanks for coming on.